Heyo. So I've been meaning to make this video. I started to the other day, and then the phone took a shit. It's completely full on storage because iPhone sucks, but that's what everybody uses, so it's just easier if I use it as well. You know, welcome to groupthink. Got my little chicken nuggets ready for lunch and some good old apple juice. But anyways, so this week sometime I got in, it's hard to see, J-Comp Gen 2 from Strike Industries. Looks something similar to that, right? Stuck it on here with a with the included crush washer. And to get this silly thing timed right, the crush washer is all fuckered up. I don't know if you can see it for shit because I don't have much light today because it's raining outside. So if you hear any thunderstorms, that's why. So basically, this side of the crush washer is sandwiched in there, and this side, it kind of exploded out of it and is not necessarily completely centric in there. So I haven't shot it yet. I'm gonna see if there's a way to see if this is aligned well enough to shoot it. It should be. It's just a compensator. It's not a suppressor. So, fuck, that hurt. Kick the table. So I should be okay to shoot it, but we'll see. This is definitely a lot more port opening than the original compensator that came with it. It was one of the cheaper compensators. It was definitely a $50 bill burn up, not $100 or $150 burn up. Because I've been shopping for compensators a little bit, and a lot of the comps, they comp slash flash hiders, muzzle devices is basically, they're flipping expensive for no more than they are, right? So I kind of like this one because even though I didn't even realize it when I bought it because it didn't have good descriptions. It's got a pinhole here, 2 slots here, and then a slot here. And as you can see, the bolt will go down, hit these 2 slots, hopefully pull it forward a little better, and this will relieve any flash, hopefully out of it as best as possible. They make this in 308 and 556. I was just kind of impressed by it. It was, honestly, bought it because it was cheap, and it kind of looks like cool. It's supposed to be modeled after the Japanese assault rifle stuffs, but I ain't worried about that necessarily. I got that in. And I also, see if that works a little better. I also got in the Tier 1 Citizen 2-point sling that with the option to be the green, OD green, and I don't know, framing you fuck, right? OD green, it kind of matches a little bit. This is obviously a little bit darker, but I mean, it's really sheeny. I don't like that per se, but I'm really impressed with it. I've got to learn it. I've never had a fancy-fied sling. It's got the Bungee branded shock cord in it, and it'll stretch out all the way, so you can kind of see from this about stretched out. I got maybe 2.5 inches a lash here, and the Triglide is buckled maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch before the shock cord starts. And it's in my G3 stock here, so it's in that Mauser style buttstock or whatnot mounting. Sorry for the jarring. But it goes from basically this stretch, which is, as you can see, about that much of the charging tube. And if I stretch it out, it goes clear, basically a little bit past the front sight here. See that? So that's how much rate of gain you kind of have of slack. He uses these HK hooks, they're made in America. Even says it on it. It says USA, and it's got USA here, W here. I know you can't see it because it's a real fine detail. And then it's got like a circle with a letter. Looks like an M. So it's an oval, kind of like that. If it's facing this way, it's an oval that's like this, and then like an M, like a McDonald's M in it. I don't know who manufactures them, really don't care. They look to be quality built. They snap on right there. This one, when I bought it, it was like $85, my cost. And it had two of these, one on this side and one on the other side as well. And I don't need this side because of the Mauser style sling lock up on this. I guess I could try to latch one of these hooks in the back, but I don't feel like that this stock would be sturdy enough. I just don't trust it, right? Why not do it the original intent way of doing it is my kind of thing, right? So you could probably hook it in there. I don't want to do that. Probably will break this plastic stock. I haven't broken it. It's got some scratches in it. It's pretty good. But this is my G3 imitation, PTR 91. GIR is what it is. And what I was thinking about doing with it, so Midwest Industries makes so this is my main squeeze. This is what I want to shoot as long as I can, as long as the rifle will last, and as long as I can afford ammunition. Fuck, I can't pull that out. Hold on. Handy dandy screwdriver here. This is my main squeeze. I want to shoot this as long as I possibly can, as long as the law allow, as long as I'll be around. And for this handguard, it's much like a M16 A1 handguard. It's got a section of plastic here. Well, the whole thing's like fiber reinforced plastic of some sort. I don't know for sure. They have the ports here, but they're not completely through. As you can see, you can't see any light through it. And it's got this heat shield that's bent and pressed into here and riveted in to the plastic, and that's how you get these little divots here and here. And what I was thinking about doing is, these are cheap. I probably won't mess with this one. I'll probably get a spare one and mess with that one, because I can get a whole stock set for like 50 bucks on this. It's one of the reasons I got this rifle. The stock sets are cheap for the basic issue stocks, and the magazines are dirt cheap for a modern style mag. They're not anti-tilt, but I mean, you really don't need anti-tilt. I mean, as long as your rifle runs fine, you don't really need all this fancy dancy magazine technology, as long as it's a good design from the start. And that's the whole point of being a weapons designer. But I thought about cutting these slots out with a Dremel on one of the handguards, and then on these two right here and here. And then I could also, if I didn't want to cut every slot out, I thought about taking a M-lock piece of rail, just maybe like that, and drilling specific size holes through the side, and literally like a two-piece where it has two screws on here, so it kind of lines up a little bit. Drilling the thing out and then putting a Bubba rail section, and I'd probably do it on this side for a incandescent light. I would really like to get one of the older eBay incandescents. T-Rex Arms says the incandescents penetrate white smoke better for like smoke grenades and stuff like that. And I got thinking about it today, and if you got incandescent, you're not going to get any light quality out of it per se for brightness, but what you will get is that discretion. Negligent and discharges won't necessarily like hurt you 100% real bad. And as well, if you're looking at that light, you're going to have to be looking pretty square to that light lens to get the full discharge of it. If you've ever seen the older like ET lights where they puts it on the bicycle or whatever, those old bicycle lights or whatnot, that's essentially what the same technology I want to get. If you ever seen like to the side of it, you just get kind of like a halo glow effect. You don't actually get the full beam out of it to look at it. So that's what I was thinking about. I got a bunch of ideas for this, and this thing's modular enough I could spend a fuck ton of money on just accessories and stuff on it. It's about as modular as an AR-10, I would say, for my purposes. You're not going to get every fancy widget-digit that ever come out, and you're not going to be able to do everything with it, is what I'm trying to say, but you're going to do anything that I'm going to be able to do anything I need to do. I could even set this up for night shoots. It's not the best shooter for design, but I mean, it was $1,500 or less for this with the rail and everything on it. I can literally get a collapsible stock on this that would end right there and be like this. So this rifle would be that fucking long, right? You know, so long. Magazines are dirt cheap. Magazines for any comparable AR system or FN system like the SCAR or the SR25 or any of that are $50 a fucking piece approximately. Even the fucking FN FAL mags are stupid expensive. And come on. Oh, it has to be set back more. And I was thinking about doing that. Just bubbling some fucking a light onto it, and then taping a, like with some adhesive of some sort, maybe some double-sided sticky tape or some contact cement or something that would glue this to this real well. Thought about taping a pressure switch to it, to an incandescent light, because or as well as an IR illuminator or a IR beam. Illuminator would be more useful for that kind of Bubba setup because it would be easier to sight in. Because the laser, I would imagine, if you just fucking widget digits it on, it's not gonna, you're not gonna have enough adjustment in the laser to get it to zero down range at any distance. Then I would average an IR beam to be no more than 100 yards, 100 meters. It would be more of a designator past that, and I don't even have enough cash on my persons or income coming in really to be fooling around with expensive thermals and bump helmets. I mean, actual ballistic rated bump helmets, Peltors, and all that other stuff. So my whole thing is just to stay as simplistic as possible, even with the old Cold War technology, but just think about it thoroughly and adapt to the technology that you can easily access. I don't like ARs. ARs are not the cheapest thing, and I've been learning they don't run that well. AR-10s, that is, they don't really run all that well. So I got one of these. I was gonna get a SCAR, but the SCARs are so expensive that I would have had to waited a lot longer, and I didn't really want to wait when I could have got one of these that actually really fits my needs. So yeah, I got the Tier 1 Citizen Sling. It just takes a lot of getting used to. I'm not used to slings that stretch like that. So like when I put it on, this rifle's heavy enough that it actually stretches out a bit, which I guess it's supposed to. I just didn't know, because it'll stretch, I don't know, guesstimation, it'll stretch quite a ways. I mean, it's still got some travel left in it because it's not as heavy as heavy can be. But I was watching one of Tier 1 Citizen's videos, and he commented, because I commented, I said, Ed, hey, could you, if I ordered another, I really am impressed with your sling, but I would like another, would it be possible if you could sew another bungee cord in? If I ordered another one, I have a PTR 101, yada yada, and it I think it needs more tension. And he's like, no, I did one for somebody that had a PKM, and it works just fine. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not setting it up right. So I asked him to do a video on how you actually set it up, like, properly for adjustments. Now, I did ask him in one of the videos what side goes what, and he says the bungee side goes towards the buttstock. So if you get one of these, which I do encourage you to get one, put it towards the buttstock. This webbing is not strap webbing. As you can see, I can twist it and roll it, see? And I can pull it apart, and it has depth to it. And it's not because I'm, see if I can, I don't think I can pinch it apart. Oh yeah, see, it has depth to it. See, I can go like this. It has depth to it. I know you can't really see it all that well, but it has depth to it because it's actually a nylon tube. And he does this so that way he could put his shock cord in there. I like it. It's simplistic. I don't need to be adjusting the shit out of it. I pulled it, I got into it, I pulled it up at the shoulder standing, and it actually pulled the weapon into my arm, and it didn't like overdo it, because I've done M1 Grand things and with a leather sling, and I had that adjusted right, and it felt like if I had it adjusted well enough that I could get some stability out of it, it felt like a fucking tourniquet. This doesn't feel like a tourniquet, it feels like an elastic bandage. And it still does the same principle. So I like this sling, and we'll find out about that compensator. I'm really after trying to reduce the recoil as much as possible. What I want to do is to have this shoot like I had my load developed for my M1 Grand. My M1 Grand, don't use this load. Do it at your own discretion. I did this 10 years ago or better. So the industry's completely changed. But I had 110 grain M1 carbine, the projectiles loaded in at 46.3 grains or 36.2 grains of 48.95 under whatever primer, under whatever brass. And that stuff cycled my M1 off of regular gas plug. And it was like shooting an AR out of it. It was a lot of power, not a fuck ton of speed, and it was cheap to shoot. And that was what I was after, is the cheapness of shooting of it. What I want for this is to do all the widget digits to everything I can, change out the locking piece, which I have, to a number 37 because I'm waiting on a suppressor for this. And it's a direct thread, so as soon as I get my suppressor, this thing's coming off, my suppressor's coming on, my suppressor's probably never going to come off of it unless it's for maintenance, so I'll have to figure out how to mount it to this, if it'll mount at all, because it's one of the Q full Nelsons. But yeah, so I changed out the locking piece in it, and I changed out the compensator, and I want to see how that affects the recoil of it, because I took a couple of shots out of it. Like, I've had 15 rounds out of this rifle done by me. Well, 10 by me and 5 by the person I let shoot it at the range. Some random person. Yeah, I really enjoy shooting this. Of the 10 rounds I have through it, I'm going to try to baby it a little bit as best I can so I have enough round count through it before I have to replace it. If I'm just piddling around and doing like group work and stuff. If I'm actually training with it or whatever, getting used to it, I'm not going to baby it at all. I'll probably end up burning a barrel up. I did look inside this barrel, and it looks like somewhere along here, in the grooves where the bigger diameter is, it pinches down like for a little spot, and it's not the actual designed spot. Normally you would see that nice even twist. Well, it's got nice, and then it comes in, and then it comes back out. And I'm like, what the fuck? So these don't have the best barrels on them, and don't seem to be... I've seen better barrels in my life looking down on the bore with a light through it. But yeah. So yeah, you'll see more content on this, what I want to do. I got the rail because what I'm wanting to do is set up night vision eventually to get a little more training on it. I want to get an EOTech XPS or EXPS, whatever, like right here, and then I want to get the magnifier back here. If I just want to mess with that, and then I also would like to get like a Night Force 4 to 32 or 4 to 25 or one of the nicer trimmer 3 reticles to do some like 200 grain or 175 grain work with this out to that 700 yard range, so I can see it and actually get decent distances out of it. Supposedly you can get good accuracy out of these because it's just the trunnion and it's completely free floated up to the front sight block, and that's not going to really impinge too much on the accuracy, in my opinion, because it's just like a sound isolator. And even then, it's not isolating that much because it's the same material, I think the same material as the barrel, going back to a metal caulking tube that goes back to the receiver, the stamp steel receiver that's on the trunnion. So it kind of would probably play this like little circular vibration bullshit, and it wouldn't isolate that much, and it probably wouldn't interfere with the sounds going through the rifle. So I've heard of guys getting 2 inches at 100 yards, which is better than that PSL that I have. And that PSL is getting worked on another gunsmith because the front sight was when it was put back on after they said I can't put a suppressor on it, they can't get it to true in. They they reinstalled it to where this front sight was cocked, and it was not cocked when I bought it. I had that front sight sighted in when I bought it. I've shot it with the front sight, or with the iron sights a little bit, but not a lot, because I mainly worked on the scope off of it because I really like that scope. But yeah, I'm gonna fix that rifle, and it's either gonna become the PTR, that is. I'm gonna fix that rifle, and it's either gonna become my wife's equivalent of this, or I'm gonna get rid of it for stuff for this. But that's my TED Talk for the day. I appreciate you listening. Look up Tier 1 Citizen on YouTube. He makes these slings. Makes the most sense. It's the best compromise between a standardized issue sling that the military gives you versus a tactical sling. And that compensator makes the most sense because it's not like the biggest bulky, like silly looking compensator, and as well it should help jettison flame so where it becomes invisible to the naked eye, at least. And that's what I'm after, that and recoil reduction. And any of these have decent recoil reduction. Like, yeah. It's not pulling the rifle forward, but it's also not trying to get you to shove it backwards, just maybe pulling it a little bit forward. I don't really want a compensator that pulls the rifle forward, because I'm afraid that it'll mess up whatever the natural accuracy of the rifle will be. I should pull this off and test it with a bare muzzle, and then buy suppressor washers for this, one of those precision washer shim kits. They're $25 for a set. I gotta wait till payday. I'm not broke, but I gotta watch how I spend my money, because it's easy to go disappear. Yeah, once I get one of those washer kits, I'll probably reshim this. I'm gonna check it to see if I can shoot it now, just to get some initial impressions off of it and see what goes on. But yeah, peace.